if we build a space elevator, it'll be the largest single engineering project humanity has ever attempted. It'll be the world's largest machine. It will be an enormously expensive project, I would have suspected. I suspect that it's doable, and I suspect it's doable within 10 years, actually, for about $150 billion. And considering the amount we stand to benefit from having such a device, from having this machine, I think that, it's a very good idea to have one. I think it's a very, very it would benefit us enormously to have one, because just think on the save of rocket launches alone within the first year, even. So you can take up to 4 payloads, rocket-sized payloads, to space per day, whereas we can't even launch 1 rocket per day. Currently it's just too expensive, right? So if you want to launch, say, an Ariane 5 every day, that's going to cost you like $137 million for a rocket, almost all of which really is going to be thrown away, chucked in the ocean, or burned up in the atmosphere. And if you can get like 4 payloads that size to space every day, you're launching about, in excess of 1,200 payloads that size per year, aren't you? That's 365 times 4, about that, right? 1,300 or so, yeah. But and that was a saving of about, what's 1,000 times 137 million? 3 zeros. So it'll pay for itself in the first year quite easily, I think. Enormously beneficial to have such easy access to space. It will not be a cheap thing ever, really. There'll be a lot of ongoing costs with it. I imagine that everything will need to be fueled to some extent, particularly this portion of the space elevator between the end of the stratosphere and the Kármán line. So this is where this is called the mesosphere and thermospheres, above the stratosphere, where the air is incredibly thin. Nothing that we know of really works as a propulsion system other than rocket engines up there. So the design for the space elevator that I've been working on, employs rings of rocket engines up in those parts of the atmosphere, because you need them, I think, just to keep the structure stable, to ensure that the structure remains slightly slack and takes these requirements for tensile strength away from the structure, so we don't have to wait around for carbon nanotubes and stuff, and we can basically get going with it quite soon. So there's another thing, other things to consider are like everything below the stratosphere. I suspect really will not be that hard to build. I wouldn't have said. I don't see 100. What it would be is say it would be a system of dirigibles and jet engines supporting cable and pipes extending up 150,000 feet into the atmosphere. But we're quite capable of getting balloons up to 150,000 feet, so long as they're filled with hydrogen or helium. We do that quite often, I think. I don't think there's any particular reason why we couldn't really just launch a large system of weather balloons up there and have a large system of balloons supporting jet engines, which are for more like steering and controlling the structure than they are strictly for keeping it actually in the air. Most of the lift provided by balloons. Yeah, I think that's a very workable suggestion, a very workable idea. So I think, the first 50 stages or so of it, because it's about 50 kilometers to the end of the stratosphere, and then about another 50 kilometers to space. I think the first 50 kilometers of it, it would be smooth sailing there. But the thing is, in the construction of it, this is the really challenging bit. You would need to send each next stage up the whole structure, then blast it upwards with either the jet engines or the rocket engines, and then attach the cable somehow to the stage below it. So while that's going on in the mesosphere, above the stratosphere, you'd have to be constantly blasting rocket engines, right? A lot of propellant. But then again, I said 150 billion. I didn't say this was going to be cheap at all. Still very much worth doing, I think. Still pay for itself in the first year of operation. Still be quite a thing to look at. Still be quite a sight. Quite an achievement if you can pull it off.